Okay, it's 7:05. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. All board members are present. And if you can join me with reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, indivisible.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, additions, deletions, or corrections to our agenda. Trustees, are there any additions and deletions? And if not, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve our agenda for tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to item number 3, public comments. Do we have any public comments?
I believe we have one person on Zoom who wishes to comment. Hold on one second. That's Peter Carter here. Peter, if you can hear.
I am here.
All right, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Peter Carter. My wife, Rosalie, and I own the house at 10715 Olathe Avenue, or Olathe Street in Green Mountain Falls. I want to call your attention tonight to a letter which was originally sent to you on December 16th, but somehow disappeared into the ether, not making it into tonight's meeting packet. Please expect the letter in the correspondence for the next Board of Trustees meeting. A written response will be required. Thank you.
This is the email that I forwarded to you earlier today, and I put it in the packet for next meeting to be in correspondence. I really don't know what happened to the email. I searched, I didn't see it anywhere.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Peter.
Any other Zoom public comments or public comments in the room? Gone. Okay, seeing that there's no additional commenters, we'll proceed on with our consent agenda, item number 4. And board, unless you have any changes, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, including the minutes from December 13th, 2022 and January 9th, 2023.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve our consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, a presentation from Allie. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's shook. Just think of
Shook.
Elvis Presley, all shook up.
All shook up. Okay, got it.
So do I just point, or is there a clicker? Please turn on the mic. You'll see a blue button there,
Okay.
and then it'll run your control.
All right, great. Thank you, Nate. Well, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Allie Shook. I'm the new executive director of the Fountain Creek Watershed Flood Control and Greenway District. I was interim for 11 months and 30 days last year, and then they put a ring on it. So I'm really excited to lead this organization. And so I've been reaching out to all of our jurisdictional partners within the watershed to introduce myself, to explain a little bit more about what the district is, how we work, and why we are here for you. So I hope this is an informative presentation. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions. I get excited, so I talk fast. So just feel free to interrupt me. So go ahead. The first slide. Oh, I don't. There we go. Okay, so we'll talk about kind of how the district was formed, some of our district projects and programs to date, our Creek Week and outreach programs, and the district's future. And I think that was the last time I was up here, was last September when we were getting ready for Creek Week. So, all right. So the district was formed it took 2 years of kind of public meetings by a task force that tried to understand what we needed here in the Fountain Creek watershed. And this was spurred by former Senator Ken Salazar, who visited the region and said, you know, there are some great assets here that need protecting, and we should do something about it. So citizens, community leadership came together and talked about what the needs and opportunities were. And after 2 years, they decided that it was a watershed district. So we are a special district within the state of Colorado government. And even back then, there identified needs for funding and more dedicated management. And I'll get to some of that in a little bit. So we are under Title 32. We are authorized to manage, administer, and fund the capital improvements necessary in the watershed to do these 5 things. So mitigate flooding, erosion, and sedimentation, address water quality concerns, improve drainage, protect open space, and develop public recreational opportunities. Just a little bit of work we have to do. So we've got a lot of engagement. We have a board of directors who are elected officials from all the communities. The watershed runs Palmer Lake to Pueblo and goes up as west here as Green Mountain Falls. We have not had a representative on the board from the Green Mountain Falls, I don't think, for quite some time. We have a small municipal rep. Currently that is being held by Jim Romanello from Town of Monument, and he sort of represents the small government. So that's Monument, Palmer Lake, Manitou, and Green Mountain Falls. We have a Monetary Mitigation Fund Advisory Committee, and this group was stood up when the Southern Delivery System was installed. So Colorado Springs Utilities put in a big straw into Pueblo Reservoir, pipes water up to Colorado Springs, and those return flows after we flush our toilets and use that water, it goes to the plant and then comes back south through Fountain Creek. So that increased amount of water, we know, immediately impacts the creek with erosion sedimentation. So that money was given to the district to kind of circumvent the impacts of those of the extra water. And it was to provide the maximum benefit to Pueblo. So those funds could only be used south of the city of Fountain line down to Pueblo, so that again, they have the maximum benefit. Really, when you work on a watershed, though, you should start at the top. So we've just been sort of it's a great amount of money. We've been working on those projects, but really we need to do more across the watershed, and we just haven't had the funds to do it. So the Monetary Mitigation Fund Advisory Committee will select what projects we do. We've got a pretty rigorous criteria. We've got a lot of input from various community members on that. We have a technical advisory committee. We have a citizens advisory group. We have an outreach committee, and then the board serves on finance, contract, and hiring committees. So a lot of committee work. We, of course, have a website. We have social media, so please feel free to peruse our website sometime. And here's kind of what we've been working on. So all of these projects with the C means when they were completed. So we've done a lot of planning. We really wanted to be as strategic as possible with the very limited funding that we had. So we've developed all these master plans, and some of them are being pulled off the shelf and used right now. So we've done a lot of planning. We can go to the next one. Other planning projects, our most recent one is the Greenway Master Plan, and that is part of the state's Front Range Trail Initiative. There's supposed to be a trail that goes all the way from Wyoming to New Mexico, coming right through our watershed here. So we've got the kind of a huge chunk from Fountain to Pueblo to tackle next, but we just finished our master plan and now we'll start tackling that piece. We've also done a lot of construction projects to the tune of $31 million. So again, I said we had 50 million, we've used 31, and we've been able to pair that with partnership funding. CDOT has supported some of our projects, City of Pueblo. And so we've been able to match those dollars with grants to make it go farther. And our most recent construction project we just wrapped up last year was a Pueblo levee. If you haven't been down to Pueblo lately, there's a park called Confluence Park, not like the one in the Springs. They have their own down there. But there's great new trails and new wetland habitat and pretty nice work done down there. This year, we have a big slate of projects, about $10 million in project work that will happen. So Eagle Ridge is in Pueblo County, just kind of continuing the shoring up. A lot of it's erosion and sedimentation control. You know, we just have this creek that's so flashy. So we're trying to shore up those banks and protect infrastructure. We're also doing a couple analyses on properties that could potentially have additional wetlands. Wetlands are amazing have amazing ecosystem services, habitat for wildlife, and cleaning up water quality. So we're looking at ways to increase the wetlands in the region. We're doing a study on the feasibility of in lieu fees. So this could be another sustainable funding source for the district. If someone's doing a project and they disrupt wetlands, they need to make it double as many wetlands in a different part of the watershed. So we could try to figure out a way to make that happen on some of those properties. We've also done, like I said, $31 million in projects since 2009, but we really haven't gone back to see how are they doing? Are they holding up? Are they meeting the objectives? Are trees still alive? Are we having, invasive species coming in? So with me being new, I wanted to go back and let's do a check. So we're going to see how effective were our projects. And then that's something we can bring to the public and say, hey, look, we've done all this work and we are doing, they're working. We're also working on a strategic plan for this year. The 2009 was the last time the plan was done, and there's been a lot of changes. There's no mention of wildland urban interface, which is a huge topic in a watershed. There's no talk of climate change. We've had a lot of changing just dynamics in our community. So we're going to sort of refocus, figure out what is our vision and mission going forward. And then every year we have, things we have to do as a special district with our annual audit. We have a capital improvement plan. We have all these meetings we do. We work on grants. We have an outreach program. I've got to oversee all these projects and budgets, and then just a lot of working with communities. And, for me in my first few months here, I want to get out and meet the people. I want to first and foremost develop relationships and trust among folks in the watershed, because it's all of our watershed. We all care about it, and we've all got to do things together to improve it, to protect it. So our award-winning outreach programs, these are all programs that I founded. So I'm very proud of these little babies. The Great American Cleanup is our new springtime cleanup. So instead of just doing a cleanup once a year in the fall, why not do a springtime one? So we've got April 15th set for that date. You're welcome to join us on that if there's interest. And then Course Creek Week is the largest cleanup in the state of Colorado. This is our 10th annual, and we've engaged thousands of volunteers and removed, I don't even know, 100 tons of litter. I mean, it's just, the numbers are amazing. And it's a really great way for people to get out and give back in a really easy way. Most of these cleanups are an hour or two long, and you can see that difference immediately. Little kids are out there. We have, folks in wheelchairs. We make it accessible. So it's a great way to do your part. We also talk about Scoop the Poop, which is our pet waste program. We've got a big E. coli issue in the watershed as well. And then pollinators are really something that we've been promoting with native plants, and how can we create habitat and teach people about maybe getting rid of some of that green, bluegrass in your lawn that's very thirsty, and we should be switching to plants that are better adapted. And then we're the only brew shed alliance in Colorado too. So what is the number one ingredient in beer? It's water. So I thought, hey, I bet there's a connection there. And so we have 25 breweries on board that have said, hey, we get it. We know we need clean water for our business. We want to support your initiatives. So they help us with cleanups. They do fundraisers. We have a monthly liquid lecture series. So you can go raise a glass and learn about watershed health in sort of an informal environment. So this has been a really fun way that we can sort of people where they are. We have little coasters. So as people are enjoying their year after their mountain bike ride, they can, learn about little tips about the watershed. So really proud of our programs and want to continue to build on those. So we've got two things in mind looking ahead. We want to continue to plan, manage, and deliver those monetary mitigation fund projects. And then we want to support our member governments and communities within the watershed. So what are we going to do? We have the monetary mitigation funds are running out. After this year, we'll have about $9 million left. That could frankly all be spent in a 1 mile stretch of the creek. We've identified 1 billion, that's B, in projects that are needed in the watershed. We have a growing population. We have all these uncertainties with the climate. We could have heaven forbid, another fire happen, and we see all the impacts that happen from that. And so we need to figure out a sustainable funding source. We currently pass the hat to our jurisdictional partners. So each community that's a member of the watershed district pays in based on population size. So Colorado Springs is the largest community. They pay the most into our administrative work. We can do a little bit of project work out of that as well, but we certainly don't have enough for the $1 billion that is needed. So a couple different opportunities we're going to look at is, could we do a mill levy in the fall of 2024? We know we live in kind of an anti-tax environment. We know that there are some uncertainties with the economy, but that's one thing we may explore. We could also go through that and not have it happen. So we need to think about, if we do get funded, what do we do? If we don't get funded with the mill levy, what do we do? Maybe we pursue the mill levy and we got to pull the plug because something happens next year that we can't foresee. And then if we don't go for the mill levy, we could ask for more money from our district members. That's coming out of, your community's budget. We could hire a grant writer or manager, or we could go for a sales tax. So there's a lot of different ways to slice this. And so we're thinking that, we've got this 13 years, 14 years now of great work behind us. We just need to share that good work and help people understand the value of what we have brought and the potential for what we could bring to this watershed. If we were go through the mill levy, it could generate about $20 million on an annual basis. And that'll certainly get us a lot farther with these projects. And if the dollars came out of a certain community, were generated, then they would go back to that particular community. So any funds that were raised here in Green Mountain Falls would come back to support project work here. So as we're thinking about ways we can be more supportive to our district members, I sort of came up with a menu because each community is different. Colorado Springs has very different needs than Green Mountain Falls. So, be thinking about what you need from the watershed district. We really want to support you. So is it, regional stormwater management planning coordination? Is it, we've got a lot of cross-jurisdictional projects that have worked out really well being underneath the umbrella of the district. So we're the ones that help collaborate between different communities. So we could help with some of the planning on stormwater initiatives. We could help plan and deliver Greenway corridor restoration projects. Is there any channel work that needs to happen? I would imagine so, with Fountain Creek coming right through here. So we could take a closer look at that and identify funds for value adds. Is there some recreational opportunity along with doing the creek restoration? Planning and project management for smaller stormwater or capital projects. So do you need help and project delivery? Those are services that we could support you in as well. We realize some of these smaller governments don't have a lot of staff, so that's something we wanted to do. Fire mitigation, project planning and support. There's a lot of mitigation work going on, but it's certainly not getting everywhere. And I think we're really far behind in that. So, is that something that the district should start to really dig into, is where are the needs that are not being met and how can we look for grants and funds for those? And then public outreach and education. We've got a lot of, great resources, literature, wonderful people that can do programming if that's something that you need. I know some communities need help with their MS4 stormwater related outreach. That's something that we could tackle. And then, we do the creek cleanups. We'd be happy to coordinate more of those, but someone said, well, why don't plant more trees? I think that's a great idea. We're also behind in the amount of trees that we have, the canopy. Nobody's really focusing on that. So is that a need that the district could fill? And then project monitoring, like I said, we've kind of done these projects, walked away and haven't gone back to see how they're doing. So, is there a study that could be done to get a better understanding of what's happening with these projects? Regional 404 permitting is becoming very difficult. There's been some changeover with the Army Corps of Engineers staffing. They've got, stacks of projects that they need to get through. So we're, developing those relationships to where we can assist with really moving these projects through so it doesn't take a year just to get your permit before you even do the work. Regional training, could we bring in some sort of, training opportunities for habitat management, forest management, other things that you would like training for staff or volunteers in your community? Wetland banking, I mentioned this before. Currently, there is no wetland bank in the entire Fountain Creek watershed. I know that folks that are doing projects are using a wetland bank in Trinidad. So there's a huge need for that. And that's something that we might be able to, excuse me, bring to the watershed. So I think, I just wanted to, first and foremost, introduce myself, let you know that we're a resource for you. I don't know that we've ever, done project work in Green Mountain Falls. Like I said, had anyone from, you folks come to our board meetings or participate. So I just want to start building that relationship and figuring out where we can help you guys out. So I guess that's all I had for today. You got a magnet and a brochure to take home. So enjoy those. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes,
I
sir.
have a question. Fountain Creek goes through private property.
Absolutely.
In some places here in Green Mountain Falls, are there resources for those private property owners?
Yes. And that is something that we've been doing south of Pueblo. A lot of that project work has been done on private. And that's why people don't really know who we are, because that work has been done on somebody's private property. We can't bring tours out there and, show people. So that's an opportunity that we do have to, support these landowners that have big issues that, they're trying to tackle. Good question.
Would you be able to elaborate on what additionally you could do for assisting us with fire mitigation in the town of Green Mountain Falls?
I think it's about, looking where the opportunities are, seeing, looking at maps, what's been done, where the needs are. We haven't really, that's just a menu. But it's something where we could come in and get a crew out here and help with the mitigation work physically on the ground.
Okay.
Or looking for grants. There's a lot of dollars out there right now for mitigation.
Well, I have your email address, so.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you know how to get a hold of me.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Quick question. Do
Yes,
you have any, you guys have extensive experience in doing planning documents with communities. We, as part of the Ute Pass corridor, have a pretty significantly outdated community wildfire protection plan.
Oh,
And we've kind of viewed that as being that missing link in strategic mitigation work.
mhm.
Is that something that you think that you would be willing to participate in?
I think so. Yeah. Be great. Send me the information. We can talk. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you, Ally.
Thank
It's
you.
really great. to meet
Snowing.
you.
It's always good to see snow in the watershed, right? All right. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ally. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item number 6, recommendation from Parks, Rec and Trails Committee with the 2023 contract with Friends of Ute Pass Trails.
You will notice one item in that contract. It's the same contract as last year. But we did have an error in the contract. It says for 2022, it's actually for 2023. This would be your maintenance, trail maintenance from Friends of Ute Pass Trails to address maintenance on the town's trails. Same price as last year, and the same work plan as last year, correct? No, a little bit different work plan.
Different price,
Same work plan, different price. So it has gone up. I'm trying to remember what the
about
cost was.
$1,000. Yeah, it went up about 1,000.
Okay, so yeah, up a little bit, but it does fulfill the town's obligation to do maintenance on the Catamount Trail.
And I think there might also be another 2022 versus 2023 error embedded in the document itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's one of the reports, I think. Yeah.
So any motion to approve this trail work and this contract with, or this maintenance agreement with the Friends of Ute Pass Trails should reflect that change of 2023 for 2023. And Mr. Blasey is online if he would like to add any comments.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. So I think the staff memo points out that the cost for the trail maintenance did go up $1,000. It explains why, inflation, needing more tools, and we had some unanticipated costs. If you look at the market and what other groups could provide for the town, our friends group, our directors wanted to do the work for the town, and we're doing this at a significant discount. And so stand by for any questions that you have.
Trustees, any questions? If there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Yeah, what are we reflecting from 2022?
You know, I would say in the motion, we probably just say, if it's an approved motion, then you could make a motion to approve it, but correct it to include 2023 instead of 2022.
Right, just the date.
Yeah.
Right. So I had a motion to approve the recommendation from Parks, Recreation and Trails Advisory Committee on the 2023 contract with Friends of Ute Pass Trails. And to reflect the difference in date in 2023, not 2022.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the recommendation from PRT for 2023 contract with Friends of Ute Pass Trails as modified. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Our next item is item number 7, recommendation again from the PRT on the CDBG Phase 2 grant.
So this application that you have before you is in draft form currently. Would like to thank the members of the Parks, Rec and Trails Advisory Committee for their thoughtful analysis of the needs. This particular application did go off script a little bit from the original proposed needs for Phase 2 that were outlined previously and address more critical need of repairs at the Gazebo Lake Bridge. Wanted to pull up just the scope of work on the application as it's outlined the major items there. If you'll give me just a moment. Yes. This was thoughtfully put together with being able to replace these materials with period era materials that would match the Victorian architecture of the gazebo itself. In addition to that, we have noticed some repairs that need to happen to the buttresses and the piers, the infrastructure of the bridge itself. This request also addresses some needed electrical upgrades at the gazebo, as well as tying in the ADA accessibility from the new concrete pathway to the bridge itself. This project, we kind of estimated that it would cost around $230,000. Did look at past projects from CDBG through El Paso County, and it's still within range of what they have awarded. In addition to that 215, I added some additional costs for that concrete tie-in. So in the grant application itself, you'll see a variation from this total. We looked also at, we noticed that there are some needs at gazebo itself. Repairs to the gazebo itself are not included as part of this application because that structure is listed on the state register for historic places. We felt that it's probably more appropriate to apply for a grant through History Colorado to do a historic structure assessment and then follow the prescription in that assessment to do any work, as that project would be eligible for state historic funds for the renovation. So that is a separate piece. We also looked at some additional playground needs at the park and decided that that's also just a separate project. So we'll be pursuing funding from a different source for that one. Is there anything that I missed on that? After your approval, we will take this draft back and I'll have the Parks, Rec and Trails look at it for any additional things that can help to make our case more compelling.
I'm not sure if we had 3 phases in the grant application last year. That the only thing I'm wondering is if we continue to kind of paint a more complete picture of bringing all our parks up to ADA code, so that you know that there's more of a sense of our overall vision for that than just this particular park.
Perfect. I agree absolutely that there's some inclusivity needs at each of the parks. And I
Mhm.
think that we can certainly find a way to communicate that in this application.
And you might even be able to take some of that from the old application. Because I mean, it's not that specific, but things like upgrading the park around the pool, the
Mhm.
playground equipment there, restrooms, yeah.
Mhm, absolutely.
And the space in between the parks, to make all of that really accessible and pedestrians safe. And I don't know if this has anything to do with, if this is the best place for the project, for a safe walkway from like hotel to to the lake park, and so people are avoiding that roadway, which is just not safe for pedestrians.
Absolutely.
So that I would think that would be part of the overall vision for the lake. So
I'll make an attempt to
anyway,
to communicate that.
Who knows where the most appropriate source of funds are for those things, but I do think it's kind of part of the bigger picture. But that being said, I mean, I really appreciate all the work that the PRT did, coming up with these funds and figuring out, I'm not coming up with funds so much as coming up with the dollar amounts. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I know it's, and it just seems like a common sense next step. Yeah. So thanks.
Thank you. Would you mind reviewing the final draft before submission?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah.
I think it should be noted, we're going after the full replacement, not the repair.
Mhm.
The repair was about half that much. So we're trying to go after the full replacement.
Yeah, and I should also note that if not awarded, we did have some safety concerns that we will have to address regardless. I would just love to see them done in a intentional way versus band-aided.
Yeah.
And if you could on page 2, correct the zip code.
Thank you.
On page 6, if funding permits, subparagraph B. What is that meant to be? It's incomplete.
Oh, I might have quit writing.
And causeway should be corrected.
I need a better spot.
It's with an S.
Okay, thank you. Page 6 is not page 6 in the packet. But
Page 6 of the application.
You're talking about where it says Salisbury?
Is that
Yep.
page 38?
And it ends with
Thank you.
sidewalk and LI.
Oh, yeah, I meant to, I just need to take that causeway and sidewalk out because I removed it from, I intended to remove it from there and added it into the main body of the grant. So
Gotcha.
I'll likely change all of that because I think that all of these expenses are within a reasonable budget to be able to accomplish. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, trustees, any more questions, comments?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the submittal of the CDBG Phase 2 grant application that includes the rebuild of gazebo bridge and not repair the gazebo, right?
Not, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so strike that. To rebuild gazebo bridge. And it would also connect a gazebo bridge with the concrete pathway. Is that and maybe some electrical repairs on?
Yeah,
the
I
gazebo?
think just approve the grant application. I should also mention, I think that I forgot to tell you, this grant application, we did not contribute any funds from the town's budget to do phase 1 of this. Because this is phase 2, I do believe that including a town match would make this project more palatable to the funding organization. It is not required. But in this application that has been prepared for you all, I did do it with the hope that we could utilize some of our conservation trust funding as town match. That's a great use of that funding. But doing so will impact your fund balance either out of the capital improvements fund. So doing it this way, and certainly we can pursue grants to help with that match. It's just that funding has not yet been requested. So as this application stands, it would be $8,030 of contribution from the town's fund balance.
How did you come up with that figure?
That's the exact amount that we receive or that we anticipate receiving from the Conservation Trust Fund.
Okay.
Which is funding that the town receives that is specifically earmarked for parks maintenance.
Okay.
Now,
And
they may not ask for this though.
They might not ask for it, but it would certainly help our case and make our application more competitive.
What about also including something like what you mentioned about pursuing funds from the historical?
Absolutely. I did have a chance to discuss with Jesse earlier last week in making these in this application, and he suggested that we identify all of the town's funding needs, roll them into one ask. So there is a possibility that this funding amount, the town match, could be absorbed through a match from the Kirkpatrick Foundation.
And I'm sorry, I understand why you thought I was talking about that. I was talking about because the gazebo is on the historic registry.
Mhm.
I was at least my understanding was that you were talking about a different grant funding source
Mhm.
because it's a historical building.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Has it already been communicated with the folks with this grant? Are they anticipating these funds and?
No, it has, I have not asked them if they would fund it without a town match. It's just typical of a granting organization that they want to know that the town's got a dog in the fight. So we could certainly put the application in without a match. I just feel as though it could potentially impact their decision to fully fund it.
Is that about the amount that we ended up having to contribute to phase 1 to shore it up because
Yeah,
of?
because of the change order. It's
about
about, it's
8,000.
nearly exactly.
Okay.
Well, not that that's a wrench thrown in this, but I mean, is the board okay with those monies being spent from the town?
Well, the bridge is in bad shape.
The bridge is in bad shape. There's no
So,
doubt.
yeah,
But is
if
the
we
board
don't
good
get the
with-
grant, we're gonna be having to basically dip into the savings account, so to speak, to do something with it.
But again, the rest of the board is good with money from the conservation, possibly from the Patrick family requesting this money.
Yeah, I think it's a great return on an investment of $8,000.
Okay,
If indeed they even ask for
Yeah.
that.
okay, outstanding.
So it does show we're trying to do some skin in the game, basically.
Well, I would second Catherine Guthrie's motion.
Almost I need to reword
It's
that.
been moved and seconded that we approved recommendation from the PRT for the CDBG Phase 2 grant for the rebuild of the gazebo bridge to include the concrete walkway. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see. Okay, moving on to item number 8. Recommendation for purchase from Marshall's office for the upgrades and additions to our town security cameras.
Excellent. This is something that's has needed to occur for a little bit. I asked Marshall Goings if he would help draft a memo to you all. We did receive a couple of quotes. We have 2 buildings that had formerly had security cameras on them. The security cameras are no longer functioning as the equipment is antiquated and they were connected to DVR equipment that's no longer there. So we did receive a couple of quotes to upgrade that equipment. Nate, would you scroll down to those quotes, please? This would be through Bex Security, did compare these to a couple of competitive quotes from other sources. For the first building, it would end up costing, and we did receive a discount on the activation fee for the second building. That's why you'll notice that there is a price difference. For the first building, it is $1,644 installed. And for the second building, it would be $1,344. Once this is complete, there would be an ongoing 3-year license for the equipment, but it would make it possible for the marshal to be able to have remote access to the surveillance footage.
So these are one-time charges.
One-time charges with the exception of those 3-year licenses.
And those are 2 different buildings.
It's 2 different buildings.
And what about maintenance? Do they, what kind of support do you get from the companies? Do they go into that at all?
If we have an issue and they, if the equipment's defective, they will replace it. You know, they want to be able to make it work for us. So,
The stuff that we're looking at is pretty much plug and play. And so if there's something that breaks. Sorry, the stuff that we're looking at is plug and play, basically. So there's not going to be a huge expense for replacing stuff. It'll just be replacing equipment when it becomes time to do so. It's not going to, somebody's not going to come out and do stuff. Any upgrades that come will come through the software that comes from that 3-year maintenance.
And so 3-year maintenance. So
How much is that?
To a degree, but it's not, it would be more of a replacement than it would be anything.
Okay. Okay.
There's nothing that can, it's the software
Mhm.
versus the hardware, the actual cameras themselves. So that takes care of any software upgrades that need to happen, basically.
So that's licensed through them at the price of what? Because this is just the equipment on here, is that correct?
the software should be on one of the,
Yeah, I'm trying to.
on the first quote there.
And should we?
That's that activation fee.
The activation fee being, what was that,
249.
Oh, no, it's
240 something?
249
249. Okay,
on both quotes.
so is that like $500 for 3 years?
exactly.
Okay.
So should we anticipate it lasting, being usable for more than 3 years?
The possibility exists, but with most electronics, you look to a 3 to 5 year window.
Okay, thank you.
And could you maybe go into a little bit more detail on what happened to the original DVR? Did it just fail or?
I can't find it. I don't know where it is. It's
boy.
not here.
Okay,
It's missing.
it's missing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
You know, the good thing about this is, that, you know, not only is it a good preventative measure, but it also helps to protect the town. We share our public works yard with El Paso County. If anything were to happen, I think we'd be easily able to view a recorded item. We will not be storing, you know, this data indefinitely, but if we were to get a report of something happening, we'd be able to actually look and see what happened. So.
So that DVR, this multi-terabyte piece of equipment is going to be secured. Hopefully in the marshal's office, maybe in the safe, like.
It'll be cloud storage.
Cloud
It'll-
storage.
it'll
So
all
we
be
won't
cloud
have,
storage.
yes, we won't have anything on site that can be taken now. Also, if we need to pull something, we can take it off and put it on a flash drive or whatever, if it becomes like an evidence type thing, and then that can be stored securely.
So you have a 2 terabyte hard drive. The tune of about $500 on just one, for just one of the buildings. Is that correct? Let's see, 2 terabytes, so 4 terabytes. So I mean, it does sound like there's going to be a hard drive.
Mhm.
It's actually, it stores in the cameras.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
But everything backs up to the cloud system.
okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Is this gonna sweeten anything with Sursa?
It certainly can't hurt.
Absolutely. They love cameras. So, sure.
We didn't tell Sir, so the other ones weren't working. No, we didn't.
Any other questions?
You like it? You're happy with it? This is.
Yes.
All right.
I'd like that I'm going to be able to look remotely and see stuff.
Mhm.
Now he's going to help with a couple things. Namely, one of the main things I think is going to be customer service. We have a time when we're not here and we see somebody knocking on the door, we'll be able to come back and respond, things like that. Obviously, we've had past issues with vandalism, losing an entire town hall within the last decade. If those guys wouldn't have burned themselves up, we probably never would have caught them. And so this gives us video evidence for things that happen. And so there's a lot of benefits to having the cameras.
And who has access to the app?
It's going to be the town manager and myself.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Trustees, if there's no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I would motion in favor and approval for the recommendation for the purchase of the marshal's office upgrades and additions to town security cameras.
A second,
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the recommendation for purchase for the upgrades and additions to the town security cameras. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're up to item number 9 for oath of office for our new clerk treasurer.
I did print that out. I'm sorry. I'll
You gonna print it out?
I've got it. Okay. Up front there. Front and center.
Do you want to turn?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I do affirm that I will support. Do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Colorado. The Constitution of the State of Colorado. The laws of the State of Colorado. The laws of the State of Colorado. And the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls. And the ordinances of the town of Green Mountain Falls. And will faithfully perform the duties and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of the town clerk of the office of the town clerk / treasurer of the town of Green Mountain Falls upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. And other duties as assigned, if you get to the paper, you have to class. Okay, no problem. I know, that's why I'm saying it. They're pretty much out of this thing.
Right. Also, the taxpayers tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll find that one.
Before we move on to our next agenda item, I'd really like to take a moment and thank Nate. It's been a tremendous experience working with him over the past year. And his contributions have been so valuable, his willingness to jump right in there, figure it out, and help move us forward. So I don't know, I hope that on a daily basis you felt appreciated, but it was really quite a big deal. And I'm lamenting losing you from our team, but I realize what a tremendous potential you have. And I hope you get out there and do so much good.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Nate, 2024.
Yeah, Nate, on behalf of the board, yes, we really do appreciate what you've done for the town. And we wish you the best on your future endeavors.
Thanks, I appreciate it. And I didn't anticipate it all happened very quickly, and I'm really thrilled to have Bo here. He was really impressive when we interviewed, a couple of candidates, and I'm really thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to overlap and, do some training with him on site. And I just feel, just for Becky's sake and for everyone, and to keep some continuity going. And I will be available for questions and stuff. I'm not going to ghost the town or Becky and or Bo. And so just want to thank the board and the previous board and the previous administration for the opportunity. And like I said, I didn't necessarily anticipate leaving so soon, but just something I had to pursue. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I will be around. So
And
That's great.
so everyone knows, I still struggle with your first name. He goes by Bo, which is going to be great for me because I struggle with the first name for whatever reason. And we are going to try to put out a little brief bio at some point. So we'll try to get that together and get it out so the town sees the individual we're getting. And welcome aboard again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we will move on to item number 10. With our new town clerk, we got a couple items that we got to clean up here for town officers and banking. First one is resolution 2023-01, the appointment of town officers.
And yeah, so like you said, this is just kind of housekeeping. I just probably redundant to have the town attorney, manager, and marshal on there, as that was all approved in the December meeting. But I just kept it all on there for simplicity. So this just establishes Bo as the town clerk treasurer.
If there's no questions or comments, trustees, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve resolution number 2023-01, the resolution of the town of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado, making appointment of town officials for 2023.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve resolution 2023-01 for appointment of town officers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is item number 11, resolution 2023-02 for the town banking authority.
And again, this is just kind of update on this with the same people as signatories, except for adding Bo as town clerk treasurer, and then a couple of sections just say that I will continue to be authorized until the 20th, which is this Friday. It'll take a few days for the bank to get the signature cards and everything going for Bo. And so we'll get that rolling and then effective next Monday, the 23rd, then basically I can be cut off from all that.
In trustees, if there's no questions, comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 2023-02, a resolution of the town of Green Mountain Falls, Colorado, designating authorized signatories on town bank accounts and individuals authorized to conduct online banking on behalf of the town.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve resolution 2023-02 for the town banking authority. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we move into reports. And I'll start with Sunday this time.
Nothing.
Nick,
Nothing to report.
Catherine,
Nothing.
Sean.
I don't have anything.
Okay. I'm going to report a couple things. The CML annual meeting is going to be June 25th through 28th. It's actually the annual conference, pardon me. There are scholarships available. I got one last year to go, and I think it would be good for maybe someone else to see if they could get a scholarship. The due date for the scholarships are February 24th. And so we need to, if you want to go and get a scholarship, we need to get you in and registered and whatnot. We do have some funding available in case, others desire to go.
I'm happy to do that scholarship application. If you're interested and available to attend, please let me know.
The other thing I need to report is I still need a replacement on the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department. I was elected, whatever you want to say, call it, to the commission, which means I can no longer function on the advisory committee. It's a fairly easy one, and quite honestly, you can get a free lunch out of it. So yeah, it's a once a month commitment, and please let me know ASAP because I'm starting to get nasty grams. If you can do this for the town.
If no one's available, would a staff person be able to attend to represent the town, or must it be elected?
I'll have to check.
Perfect, thank you.
Everyone else there, as far as I know, is elected official.
Okay.
So, and then let's see, I said I'd report out on what we kind of went through during our work session this morning. We have several codes, existing town codes that may need some updating. The ones that we've kind of been looking at have to do with residency, signage, basically administrative approval for signage. See, what did we do with the land use code?
Just clean up the chapters and
Yeah, we need to clean up
the,
land. Oh,
putting
and
in
we
more
also-
generic language to the building code.
Yeah,
reference.
we also need to possibly look at changes to our existing code with respect to planning commission and our land use code, make sure the duties are lined up. Looking at potentially a code for adding fees for past due invoices. We've already have voted on nuisance tree definition, so that one will be one we likely go in and do. We're looking to change our court fees to something instead of just defining the fee in the code, and it would maybe be something where we refer it off to a fee schedule. We have something that needs some discussion with regards to the new land use codes with respect to fire pits. And there, right now, the new land use code has a banning for short-term rentals, and we need to have a discussion on whether or not that's appropriate for the rest of town or not, and or whether or not we can even legally keep that one in there. And then we need just some real easy language cleanup regarding bears and the trash or wildlife resistant containers. We're looking at monitoring our procurement policies because the inflation is catching up with us. We're tabling that one. We need to revamp our parking code because we no longer have paid parking. And we're looking at maybe revamping our noise requirements, including our fines. And then we're also looking at some language that dealing with false alarms from alarm systems. So just in a nutshell, that's kind of what we were chatting about this morning. Some of those are going to need to come to the board for board discussion and maybe even public input in a couple of cases. So that's all I had. We'll move on to committee reports. Do we have any committee reports?
None received.
Do we have any committee chairs online that are wanting to give a report?
No, let me double check, make sure no one else has joined, but nope, no committee chairs present.
Okay. Next one up is staff.
Wonderful. Lots going on since my last report. A little update on the Stilling Basins project. Iron Mountain has demobilized and they'll begin work again at that site to wrap that project up in 2023. The remaining work that needs to occur there is the tie in to the lake as well as some landscaping. They did get the concrete poured over on Hotel Street. It's looking pretty good. Still need to put it in a guardrail there. That could happen in the interim before they finish up the rest of the project. But for the most part, that is been backburnered for now. The gazebo lake is all but complete. They have a little bit of landscaping and the parking curbs to put back together there. Outside of that, the contractor was really waiting to be able to have the lake full enough to be able to see where the water's flowing before he put it all back together down at the stream. I anticipate that we'll need to reseed that area in the summertime where that soil's been disturbed, but it's all looking quite nice. The ice is still pretty unstable there. We added new water to that after the ice cap had frozen. It really destabilized the ice. We did put out the additional safety signage that are down there now. Once the contractor has buttoned that project up, we'll likely turn off the inlet so that it will freeze nice and hard, and then Public Works will go out and take a sample of the depth before removing those signs and allowing pedestrian traffic back on the ice. So appreciate everybody's patience while we make sure that it's nice and safe. The comprehensive roads plan is still in progress. We had hoped to have a presentation for you all in January, but it's received a few delays and we have rescheduled for February. Public Works is working to stockpile material for springtime now, as well as any park supplies that are needed so that once we are back into the thaw, they can begin to continue on with road improvements and be prepared to address any of those items that are identified in our comprehensive roads plan. They got the site cleaned up at Olathe area to support the CSU project going on there. You may have noticed that they did deliver their construction trailer and plan to start working on that project. Next week, I anticipate that project will go pretty quickly. I'm hopeful that it will, and that we'll have our area cleaned up by springtime down there again. They also completed the striping of Ute Pass Avenue with the exception of the area near the Stilling Basin and a couple of other crosswalks that need to be thermoplastered in. So they've rescheduled that after the Stilling Basins is complete and they can get those crosswalks back in. They are using those millings that we received from the Ute Pass overlay to do some creative projects. They've built up some shoulders and some other areas in town. So we've kind of been watching how that material works, how it's behaving. We have reserved a little bit of it for the pool parking lot so that we can help to not have such a mud pit over there this year, but they are waiting for a warm enough day to be able to compact it. They are cleaning and organizing the public works building and yard. A lot of work's been done there. And then of course they are chomping down on our CRSA list of identified maintenance and repairs at parks and facilities.
Will they be able to get the railroad ties out for the parking? Is that going to be this month or next? Do you think?
They'll start working on that. They had to kind of shuffle some duties there to clean up the building there and the yard, but I anticipate that between snow removal, they'll be able to start getting those in. They were able to get the driving tool that they needed to not have to sledgehammer the rebar in, so that should help quite a bit. They're also working on moving the sign from the old fire department up here. So they've worked with a member of the Fire Protection District's board to identify a suitable location, and that should happen soon as well. We are here administratively wrapping up those 2022 grant activities and reporting, as well as the end of our wrapping up our fiscal year. We did submit the PPRTA 2023 budget for Green Mountain Falls. The Human Bear Conflict Resolution Program grant that we received, we did receive some design concepts from the PRTAC. And they have settled on some design concepts that they'll be sharing with me shortly. We still need to schedule that tree removal and order the bins, put together the RFP to go out to bid this spring. But that project is still moving along. We have a tentative preliminary site visit scheduled with the University Technical Assistance team from CU Denver to look at the pool tomorrow, weather dependent, and with a rescheduled date for next week. So we'll kind of come and take a look at whatnot there and put together agreement for you all based upon the findings of that preliminary meeting. We've been working with the Fire Mitigation Advisory Committee to develop a process for public engagement and resident notification for the right-of-way project. And also working to identify that community appetite for an update to the 2007 Ute Pass Community Wildfire Protection Plan. We worked this month to support the town clerk treasurer transition. Did have a couple of interviews with potential candidates, and I'm happy to welcome Bulos to the team. Also, we had a couple of promising interviews with the Planning Commission to fill that town contractor planner position. We interviewed a former town planner as well as two planning firms. The PC is going to kind of evaluate those candidates at their next meeting and kind of bring forward some recommendation to you all coming up. Also working to do some cleanup of the employee handbook and working with the Parks Rec Trails Advisory Committee to draft that application for the CDBG to support additional accessibility in the bridge rehab at Gazebo Lake Park. Any questions for me on any of those items? I kind of rolled through them pretty quick.
It helps to get a copy.
A copy.
Ahead of time. It is a lot of information.
Next,
Mine's pretty short. I shortcutted this one a little bit, but so short-term rental wise, we are up to 56 active licenses out of the cap of 60, with 2 basically pending. So we're getting close to that ceiling pretty quickly. And so the recently approved are 10530 Ute Pass Avenue and 11190 Hondo. Pending applications at 10855 Ute Pass Avenue and 10935 Hondo. The renewal process with the new requirements is causing a little bit of delay, but going pretty smoothly. The applicants need a little bit of assistance sometimes with just compiling all the documentation into one upload, because in Munirevs you can only really upload one document per task. So it's the Munirev system has been updated accordingly, to match those requirements. It's just kind of a grace period for a lot of people, just to kind of help them through the process and get those renewals processing. So that'll be one thing that I'll show Bo as we train this week. Planning, the land use code goes into effect Friday. And so some of those processes for the applications for the minor site plans, which includes fences and decks and structures under 200 square feet, everything associated with the minor site plan now will be subject to administrative approval instead of planning commission approval and all that. There is one application in the works right now that has variance associated with it. So I will be at Planning Commission next Tuesday and possibly, the February 7th board meeting, just to kind of shepherd that application through, because I'm familiar with it and just to answer questions and things on that. It's a pretty minor variance, and actually it's a side and front setback variance, but actually kind of improving the situation that was going on there. So I'll be around and plan on attending those. I guess just to expound on, I feel like I didn't thank Becky enough when I in my previous statement, but I really enjoyed working with Becky. I think the board made the correct decision in selecting Becky over myself when we both applied to the town manager position. She, I think, is a perfect fit for what this town needs, and building relationships, and her breadth of experience, within the government setting, I think is just perfect for the town. So anyway, I want to thank you, Becky, as well. And don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. I'll be around, and you as well, Bo. And that's about it. So thanks.
Marshall, did you have anything you want to report? Okay. Okay, with that, we'll move on to correspondence.
None, as it was alluded to in the public comment earlier. I talked with Mr. Carter, I believe it was, on the phone, and I literally searched for that email. I could not find it. So anyway, he I don't know what happened. He resent it, forwarded it to you, and it's queued up to be included as correspondence in the next packet. But no other correspondence received this time.
Okay, last call, trustees, anything? Going, gone. 8:19, we are adjourned.